Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our top stories today from NBC News, with an intense stare, a wide smile, and a simple declaration, Harris certifies her loss to Trump. Vice President Kamala Harris presided over a joint session of Congress on Monday, certifying the results of the 2024 election in which she lost to Donald Trump. That's right. It is now official, ladies and gentlemen, as of January 1st, or January the 6th, I should say, to be more specific, of 2025. Upon entering the Senate chambers on Monday, Vice President Kamala Harris issued a simple declaration when asked by NBC News about presiding over the certification of the 2024 election. Democracy prevails. Now, now let's all make sure that we understand this. The United States is a constitutional republic with democratically elected officials. We are not a democracy. So the Democrat democracy is the authoritarian multicultural democracy. So there needs to be a clear distinction here. But of course, NBC, they had to be snarky about it and say, when asked a simple question. Minutes later, Harris carried through, steering Congress, collective endorsement of the electoral vote that she lost and affirming Donald Trump's return to the White House. Hands clapped before her, Harris looked ahead plainly and intently as four senators took turns reading off the electoral totals from each state. Now, it was quite amusing to watch Amy Klobuchar do that. She broke into a wide smile both when the vote total reached a threshold to declare Trump the next president and when she received a standing ovation from her party when her vote total was read. But of course, it was the Establishment Uni-party that elected Joe Biden to be president because he had the whiff of Obama on him. And we knew from the very beginning that he was suffering or diminishing in cognition. But of course, it didn't really matter. And then, of course, they picked Kamala Harris, the last place Democrat. Speaking of Amy Klobuchar, they could have picked Amy Klobuchar, but Kamala Harris was in last place by the Democrats when Tulsi Gabbard basically eviscerated her in the debate. Tulsi Gabbard could have been another choice they could have made, but no. Because of DEI, they had to choose Kamala Harris. So you can argue, you can debate whether or not she was a DEI selection, but even Joe Biden talked about the fact that she was a DEI selection. So, you know, this is what happens when you do things based on superficiality versus merit, right? Versus meritocracy. Now, I'm not saying that she couldn't be capable of being vice president, but it didn't really matter whether Joe Biden was president or whether Kamala Harris was vice president. The Establishment Uni-party was running the country, so it didn't really matter. But on that note as well, we learned that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, pretty boy Trudeau, has stepped down. Embattled Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau says he will resign after new party leader chosen. How about that? What an interesting day for freedom in the world, right? Justin Trudeau has said he intends to step down after 9 years as Canadian Prime Minister in the face of mounting sense of crisis, leaving office once a new ruling party leader is chosen. I intended to resign as party leader as Prime Minister after the party selects its new leader, the 53-year-old told reporters at a news conference in Ottawa on Monday. I care deeply about this country, and I'll always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians. Well, if it was in the best interest of Canadians, then resigning doesn't really suggest that you had a lot of that motivation behind you because, we saw what happened there in Canada, and of course we see what's happening across the world. It did not take long for our adversaries to realize that Joe Biden was the perfect president for their opportunity to start asserting themselves, posturing, and other things. And, of course, we saw Russia invade Ukraine. And then shortly after that, we saw what happened on October 7th there in Israel. So the world was in chaos, essentially, under the leadership, as it were, of Joe Biden, which is actually the Establishment Uni-party, backing him as president of the United States. And, of course, as of today, as of this recording, during the certification, Joe Biden was working to ensure and Trump-proof everything, which illustrates even further, this has to do with energy and drilling out in the ocean, illustrating yet again that the Biden administration, if you want to call it that, did not have the interests of the American people in mind. If you're trying to stop the current president or the individual that will be the president from being able to prosper the United States. So clearly, what was important to the Democrats was making sure that biological males could use women's bathrooms, that pornography could be in children's schools, and of course CRT, DEI, BIPOC, identitarianism, all of this absurdity that they had there, intersectionality, all of these things did not help the American people at all. Now, I can understand if you want to recognize a marginalized group. I can understand if you want to recognize majority or minority groups, but to say this group shouldn't hang out with that group and this group shouldn't be with this group, or we need to marginalize another group, impede another group, hamstring and isolate and alienate another group so we can lift up another group by virtue of equity. This is what happens. This is exactly what happens. And then on top of it, we had all the lawfare, right? We had all the tabloid nonsense gutter news that was going on for 8 years about Donald Trump, trying to convince as many people as possible that Donald Trump was a one-dimensional villain. And of course, we are now waiting at least 4 more days from now as of this recording on January 10th when Judge Merchan is going to issue some statement on the sentencing of Donald Trump, who is not going to receive any jail time or anything like that. As a matter of fact, he is doing this as a face-saving move because he knows that no matter what he does, he just has to placate. He has to pander to his ilk, as it were, the left, the establishment, and then allow an appellate court or let Trump go and appeal it. That way he doesn't lose face. Because even today, when I was reading through my Facebook and seeing our local news talking about the certification of Donald Trump, without any uncertainty at all, people were saying, Donald Trump, a convicted felon. That's the entire exercise. That was the entire exercise of the lawfare. It wasn't about law, or it wasn't about the rule of law, and it wasn't about justice. It was all about trying to make a political opponent look as bad as possible. It's absolutely absurd. I am so glad that my fellow Americans recognize this absurdity, this charade, this exercise of absurdity and stunt, as it were. And Donald Trump will now be the 47th president of the United States and hopefully restore some sanity to our country and some stability to the world. But I welcome your guys' thoughts and opinions down in the comments section. I want to thank all you guys across New Tech, that's BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey, for your guys' continued support. Now we're in 2025. Let's hope for the best. And, of course, everyone here on YouTube, for your guys' continued support. Below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to. So make sure you follow me there on social media. And if you're a Prime member or order frequently from Amazon, my links are down below. It does help out the channel. But, of course, your likes, your shares, and your comments also help out the channel a great deal. And I appreciate it, as well as interacting and participating in the community post on YouTube specifically. And speaking of specifically, here on YouTube, you see the channel icon appearing there on the screen. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.